The championship leader at the moment, Joshua Whatley, missing this weekend. He's out in the Spanish championship, and he's racing at Valencia in the Moto 4 category, so he won't be taking part this weekend, and that opens up the championship to the 4 of his nearest rivals. Second position in the series at the moment is Harvey Claridge, who sits on pole position on the grid. Callum Beach alongside him on the front row. On the second row of the grid, we've got Jeremy Knight, who's currently 4th in the series standings. Alongside him, Brodie Crockford, currently 5th in the points, and 5 points in arrears of Knight. So Claridge is the net leader, as long as he can score enough points this weekend to move above Joshua Whatley. Callum Beach 12 points in arrears of him after a non-scoring race in the second race of the weekend at Clandow. We're just about to get underway then with race number 1 in the MiniGP70 category. Good start from 4th position on the grid from Brodie Crockford, who's away, and up into 3rd position immediately, close between 3rd, 4th and 5th positions as they come up the hill and towards the S's. And in fact, Crockford is making further progress, diving through to 2nd place into the top turn, through the S's and onto the Simpson Straight. The race for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th positions at the moment as the early race leader breaks well clear. Crockford with some brilliant progress there on lap number 1, up from 4th position and into P2 as they filter around Paddock Bend and onto the start-finish straight once again to complete lap number 1. It's Callum Beach then, who was the early race leader from 2nd on the grid. But Brodie Crockford is the rider on the move to have moved up through the field and up into 2nd position. So as the riders filter through and down towards the end of lap number 2, we look to Harvey Claridge, the current race leader, ahead of Brodie Crockford in P2. Incredibly, the gap between the top 2 was over 2 seconds at the end of that opening lap, and it looks similar at the end of lap number 2. Well, I'm joined in commentary, delighted to say I'm joined in commentary by Brad Ray, one of the Cool Fab Hall of Fame riders, and after a very impressive 2016 season, you've well and truly earned your place alongside me in commentary to call the action here today. Glad to be back with Cool Fab?
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to come back to the grassroots where I first started and watch these up-and-coming riders.
Some new names for you, perhaps. Brodie Crockford is one for the memory archives. He's already worked his way through from 4th up to 2nd position on the green liveried machine, heading just down to turn number 1. He's dropped well back from Harvey Claridge, though. Claridge was away and gone while Crockford was working his way through, and it's Crockford who still holds 2nd position. The race at the moment for 2nd, 3rd and 4th places. Jeremy Knight is up in 4th position, a new personal best on that last lap from him, and now he's just got to keep his focus as they work through the technical infield sections. Those are really the challenging bits of the circuit, but I suppose probably the positions on the track where you can make up the most ground.
Yeah, definitely, especially if you're out in front. It's good to have a clear lap in front, do your own lines, and like Harvey is now, he's just got his head down, he's got out in front, and if you try and concentrate and not make too many mistakes, it's a lot easier than battling away in 2nd and 3rd, so it's best to get out in front.
Interestingly now, Brodie Crockford has also got some clear air. It's a question of whether he can try to match the pace of Harvey Claridge, who's made that early break. The race at the moment is for 3rd position between Jay Abel and Jeremy Knight, and they're bringing Louis Rendell and Oscar Pinson with them, all setting new personal bests last time around. Jay Abel fractionally slower than Jeremy Knight, as Harvey Claridge, as you just said, he's got his head down, and another new fastest lap of the race from Harvey Claridge, who is almost half a second a lap faster at the moment than Brodie Crockford in 2nd. Crockford has a decent advantage over Jay Abel in 3rd position and Jeremy Knight in 4th place. At the moment, the race is for 3rd and 4th positions as they come back around and end towards the end of lap number 6.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a close one between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Harvey's obviously run away with it. As long as he stays concentrated and does his own thing, then I think it's definitely going to be a battle for 2nd and 3rd.
Got a separate battle starting to develop here between Louis Rendell and Oscar Pinson. That gap now less than half a second, with Pinson making fractions up on Rendell. It's the orange liveried machine of Oscar Pinson who's trying to make up ground. He was almost alongside coming down the Simpson Straight last time around, but couldn't quite make it. See if he can do something about it here. We've got 2 races in one, a battle for 3rd position and a battle for P5 as they come back down towards us here in our commentary position.
Yeah, it just looks like Brodie's got a little bit of a gap just to keep 3rd and 4th behind him. I mean, if he can keep that for the whole race, then I'm certain he's got 2nd place. But I mean, it looks like a more of a battle for the last step on the rostrum.
Yeah, and at the moment that's between Jay Abel and Jeremy Knight, who are still closely packed as they come around the top bend, and then dropping back the two riders behind them, but involved in their own separate fight, Louis Rendell and Oscar Pinson. And while the race stabilises, dare I say it, that gives us an opportunity to just have a bit more of a catch-up with yourself. Very impressive 2016 season, as I said previously when we first went on air. So plans for this season, enjoyment of this season, what's in the future for you?
To be fair, this year's a big step for me, a big learning year, jumping up into the superbike class from Supersport. It's not easy, but I mean, I've got a good team behind me, a team that have said there's no pressure for this year, just go out, learn how to ride a superbike and enjoy yourself. And for me, that's a big thing, because if a team puts pressure on you in your first year, you start making mistakes which you don't need. And already we're sort of showing good pace on the superbike. We've just got to stay grounded, keep learning, learn from all the other riders.
And you're in good company as well there, because there's, as we were saying earlier on in our programme, a good couple of cool FAB-Racing graduates who are out there, and one in particular who has just made his name by taking 2 race victories. So as I say, you're in good company, and that's a good sign for the future, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, to be out on track with the likes of like Hopkins and Sylvain Gintoli, all them sort of people who I've watched growing up in my career, and to be at Brands and to overtake Hopkins and beat him to the line was so surreal and quite surprising. But I mean, I'm still learning. It's going to be a learning year all year, and the new Suzuki is a good bike, and I think it's just going to take a little bit more time. But I mean, I've got a good team behind me, and I just got to keep learning.
And talking about these riders who are still learning their trade but giving us plenty of entertainment at the moment, a good battle on for 3rd position as we rejoin that race between Jay Abel and Jeremy Knight. There was less than a 1/10 of a second between them on that last lap. It looks as though it's been fairly challenging for the riders to find an appropriate overtaking place. Is that because of the high-speed nature? I mean, the longest straight on this circuit leads into a fast left-hander, so there's no real major braking zone for someone to make a big lunge.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the bikes are so equal. It is hard to make a move anywhere, and there's not too many corners around this track that you can make them, and if you do is sort of a lunge and sort of stand the other rider up, that's about it. But if you can get a good drive out the corner and be good on the brakes, I'm sure you can make a move somewhere.
At the moment, the gaps are fairly static. That race between Louis Rendell and Oscar Pinson has sort of been ended. Pinson, a lap ago, had a bit of a wobble, a bit of a moment. He's lost a position. Callum Beach has come through up to P6. So the current positions now are Harvey Claridge out in front. He's away and gone. Forget about him. 6 seconds clear. And barring any errors, he's going to take the first race victory of the weekend. The current 2nd place man in the championship, who is set to move into the championship lead this weekend. Still, that race is ongoing for 3rd position. That's as close as that's been between Jay Abel and Jeremy Knight. But again, as you said, it's very difficult for him to get alongside, and each time he does get alongside, he's having to make the decision to back out of it. He can't quite get half a bike length alongside to try and make that stand-up move that you were talking about.
Yeah, that's it. If you can get close enough to think about a move, then you should be close enough to make a move. But it is quite difficult. As you can see, he's right on his tail now, so if he could just stay there and try and line up a move in the next lap and think about it, it'd be fine.
He's certainly getting closer, but it's going to take something special to find his way through. There's about a bike length between them still. Once again, still less than 2/10 of a second between those two for the last 2 or 3 laps. Jay Abel at the moment holding that 3rd position over a second back from Brodie Crockford, who has, to be fair to him, managed to maintain the pace of Harvey Claridge out in front, but perhaps is going to need another sensational start next time around to see if he can get the better of Claridge when we obviously get to round 2. For the moment, the focus in the round 1 race in this MiniGP70 category is that battle between 3rd and 4th position. It's getting closer all the time, and again he's having to back out of it at the last moment.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating to be in places like that, because you just want to make a move. But yeah, he's showing good pace, and I think if he can get close enough, he will make a move.
He's certainly trying to do so. If you can manage to get all the way around the outside of that left-hander, obviously you have the inside then into the right-hander, but it's so much further to go. So that move worked out in the pit bike race, but it hasn't worked out in any of these categories. And still the gap around about a 1/10 of a second as they come towards the start-finish line once again and complete the race. Well, what an excellent battle that was between Jay Abel and Jeremy Knight, but in the end, no way for Knight to come through. He kept trying up the inside coming off the final bend end, looking down the inside of the straight. Straight not long enough, though, for him to find a way through.
Harvey, champion in MiniGP50 last year. Your first win in MiniGP70, a comfortable victory. It was a bit like old times, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good victory. I struggled to get away at the start, but once I got away, I was kind of just cruising at a good lap time just to keep the same gap.
And I've no doubt, having won 50 last year, you're looking to win MiniGP70 this year, complete the set, are you?
Yeah, it'll be good to get both trophies by the end of the year. I'll be quite happy with that.